I want to share with you a story. In stories, this is like one of the top 10. I want to say also a special l'chaim l'schus. Shalom Mordechai Alevi ben Rivka. Should be a year of geula for him. L'chaim, l'chaim, l'chaim. They say, what's the definition of a good story? Of a real story, a deep story? What they call by Chassidim, Achsider Shemaisa. The definition is, it's a story, an event in which the soul surprises the mind. So we tell stories so that our own soul should be able to surprise our own minds. Our own concept of how life has to be, or is destined to be. So this fits, this title, this description, I think is particularly suitable for the following story, which will also explain the secret of Nisach HaMayim and Ashois HaMayim Litzmoi. And I see in the meantime the heavenly Nisach HaMayim stopped so that we can do some more earthly Nisach HaMayim. So here's the Maisa. It's an Alter Chsidish Maisa. There was a Yid, we'll call him Moishelah, like every good story. Oh, Moishelah even had music in the background. I don't know if when the story happened there was music, but as we recount the story there's music, because when the story happened there was also music. It was just a different type of music. So Moishelah was a very poor Jew, and a very God-fearing Jew, an Erlich Yid. But his favorite Yom Tov in the world was Sukkos. And his favorite mitzvah in the world, if you could say so, was the Lulav and the Asterisk. There's always that special chavivus, the special affection that a Jew has the first day of Sukkos, when he or she picks up the Lulav and the Asterisk and the Hadus and the Arava. There's something special. And even the second day, the third day, the fourth day, there's an energy that a sensitive soul feels with the Daled Minim. And the last day, or Rabbi, when you shake Lulav the last time, there's a certain, I'm not going to say melancholy, but a certain sense of gaguyim, of yearning for the mitzvah. It's funny, you pick up a Lulav Isruchag, it's a joke. Pick up a Lulav Isruchag, it doesn't mean anything. But Sukkos, it's Nishkin Lulav, it's not a palm branch, it's a Lulav. It's a chefze from Daled Minim, it's a chefze from Lulav Tzarech Eget. It's a whole different mitzvah. He loved Sukkos, he loved the Daled Minim. He would always save up money to be able to buy the most beautiful, exquisite, splendorous esrog in the world. And Baruch Hashem, every year there was a nice supply of esrogim. It wasn't a great challenge. One year, it was a difficult winter, just like this year in Italy. Calabria suffered a lot because of frostbite, because of an icy winter. Shalei Hoya Kamaisa since 1963, such a winter in Italy. Okay, but Baruch Hashem, Le'alman Yisrael, we have Eretz Yisrael, we have Morocco. But Italy, Calabria, southern Italy wasn't easy. Anyway, it was a difficult winter that year, and the supply of esrogim diminished, and the community got only a few esrogim, and the price went flying high. And when Moishelah came to buy his esrog from the esrog merchant, he was astounded to hear that the esrog cost 1,000 ruble. 1,000 ruble was impossible. It was impossible for him to buy an esrog for 1,000 ruble. And this wasn't the most perfect esrog. It was epis and esrog. He came home, and he was very dejected. There was maybe a few esrogim in the city. Everybody would have to share an esrog, but he wanted his own esrog, as he did for every single year for decades. No, Erev Sukkos, he can't come to terms with the fact that he doesn't have an esrog. He goes home, finishes building his sukkah, then he has an idea. He looks at his tefillin. He says, you know, for the next 9 days, I don't have to put on tefillin. Let me sell my tefillin, get 1,000 ruble, buy an Asterisk. After Sukkos, I'll worry about how to get another 1,000 ruble to get back my tefillin. But in the meantime, I'll have an Asterisk. Asterisk is the mitzvah Iveris. It's mitzvah Hayoim. It's the unique mitzvah of Sukkos. Moshe goes. He sells his tefillin. Gets 1,000 ruble. Goes to the merchant. Pays him 1,000 ruble. Comes home with an Asterisk. Nobody was buying the Asterisk. He managed to get a good Asterisk. Beautiful Asterisk. More than he even expected. He's so excited. Runs into the house. He wants to tell his wife. He got an Asterisk. His wife wasn't home. He's probably shopping for Yom Tov. He puts the Asterisk down on the kitchen counter. And he goes to do his things, whatever he has to do. Be ma'aged the lulav, finish up the sukkah, cook some fish for Sukkos, gain a mikveh, whatever he had to do for Sukkos. Wife comes home, runs in, he says, you wouldn't believe. Moidedik, you wouldn't believe it. I have an Asterisk for Sukkos. Really? How? How much was it? You said it was so expensive. It was 1,000 ruble. I know. How in the world did you get 1,000 ruble? So I sold my tefillin. Sold my tefillin, I got the Asterisk. You sold your tefillin to get your Asterisk? How are you gonna wear tefillin? I mean, tefillin you need a whole year. Asterisk is 7 days. Tefillin is a whole year. What are you gonna get 1,000 ruble for tefillin now? What are you gonna do every day for tefillin? You're gonna wait every day for after Shachas borrow somebody's tefillin? He says, listen, I put on tefillin this morning. For the next 9 days, I have no tefillin. He didn't put on tefillin chalamayit. The das shittas hazoya. I don't have tefillin. Right now, the mitzvah is lulav. Esrik, hadas, arava. That's what I need to do. The only way I can go do the mitzvah now is if I sell my tefillin. So I sold my tefillin because the mitzvah of the moment is mitzvah's daled min. Esrik, lulav, hadas, arava. She's like, that's amazing. That's incredible. What does the Asterisk look like? It's a beauty. It's a hoda, it's a beauty. Let me see the Asterisk. Let me see the Asterisk. He says, it's right here. It's right here on the counter. She says, where? He runs to the counter. He looks. There's no Asterisk. He says, it was right here. The Asterisk was right here. I put it down. You should be able to see it. She says, this was your Asterisk? He says, yeah. Like, mashallah. You won't believe this. I was home. I had to make a compote on applesauce. I decided I need lemon to enhance it. I saw on the counter a lemon. It was a nice lemon. I didn't even suspect. It was an Asterisk. Where did you come to have an Asterisk? I knew you gave up on Asterisk. I took it. I squeezed it into the compote, into the applesauce. I squeezed some into the salad. I cut it into pieces. Not too much liquid was coming out. I had to get all the liquid out. I cut it up. I threw out the peels in the garbage. I didn't know it was your Asterisk. I thought it was a lemon sitting on the counter. So Moshe goes over to his wife and he gives her a hug and he says, I appreciate you very much and I cherish you very much and I love you very much. Thank you for being such a special partner in my life, such a special wife, such a special soulmate. She looks at him and she says, Moshe, du bist meshugig geworden. Are you insane? Are you not human? You're not angry at me? You don't want to holler? You don't want to scream? You don't want a divorce? You don't want to run out of this house? You don't want to jump on the table and say, how can you do this? I don't understand you. What are you thinking? Explain to me your emotional process. How is this processed? So Moshe tells his wife, this is what he says. When I had tefillin, looked at the tefillin, I thought about the Asterisk, and I said the mitzvah of the moment is to buy an Asterisk. So I sold my tefillin, and I bought an Asterisk. And then when you told me that by mistake you cut up the Asterisk and you threw it in the garbage, and you used the rest for applesauce and salad, I don't have an Asterisk. Now, the mitzvah of the moment is to love my wife. The mitzvah of the moment right now is to connect to my wife. That's what I do. I do the mitzvah of the moment. The mitzvah of the moment is to be close to my wife. That's what I do. Now, when you analyze stories, you ruin them. But I'm still going to analyze the story because I want to bring the story down to our lives. What did Moshe understand that so many of us don't understand? Moshe, what would most people do in such a scenario? You bought an Asterisk not for $1,000, for $400. And the $400 is not a half a year's salary. It's money, but it's not a half a year's salary. And your wife, by mistake, breaks off the pitum or uses it as lemon. What would be your response? At best, you would run out of the house and run to the therapist. Or you would go take a drink, not of water, but of wine. A goodness, a chayayin, not for 7 days, but for 9 days. Or the response by different people would be different ways, which I'm not going to graphically describe now. Moshe wasn't a tzaddik of a generation, but I'll tell you what he was. Moshe was not attached to a particular form of religion. For Moshe, serving Hashem didn't have to look a certain way. Moshe lived in the moment, and he asked himself one question. What does God want from me this moment? What's the mitzvah of the moment? He wasn't attached to any particular structure or form. This is it. That's a form of worship, of idolatry. He didn't worship the tefillin. He didn't worship the Asterisk. He worshipped God. He wasn't attached and bound up and therefore trapped by what avodas Hashem has to look like. Every moment I ask, what is this moment's heartbeat? I want to dance to the beat of this moment, to live with God right now, this second. He ends up that Sukkos without tefillin. He ends up without an Asterisk. He doesn't have tefillin, he doesn't have an Asterisk. But he has Hashem. And he has a wife too. Other people might end up with tefillin, might end up with an Asterisk. They would lose their marriage and they would lose their God. He didn't have an Asterisk. He didn't have tefillin. But he had God. He was tuned in to the energy, to the calling, to the divine opportunity of the moment. He didn't get drunk on wine, he got drunk on the divine. And that's the difference. And that's the difference between Nisach HaYayin and Nisach HaMayim. The Balatanya, the Alter Rebbe says in the Likutei Torah, in the Maimre Bayoim Hashmini Atzeres Tiyeh Lechem, he says a gewaldige word, open your hearts. We say in Nishmas, Kol berech lecha tichra, v'chol koimo lefanecha tishtachava. You remember? I'm going to say it again on Yom Tov. What does it mean? Every knee will kneel to you, and every koima, every, not shimini, this is koimin. Every stature, every person standing upright and erect, this koima, the full height of a person, lefanecha tishtachava, will prostrate to you, will bow down to you. As the Balatanya